Okay guys, here we are with another tutorial. This time we're going to talk about Unwrap. This was requested by someone on YouTube, talking how they get those pretty good and more straight UV maps. So something you need to understand is, and I think this is important for MView, is when you have topology. What I mean by topology is, look at the way those segments, those lines, whatever you call it, look like compared to this one that I have over here. Okay. When on MView, when you have something like this, even when you unwrap it, you can get more straight maps. I will show you what I mean by that in a second. But when you have like something like this, you can get a relaxed map, sure, which will be totally fine. But it probably won't be as straight and looking the way that you think it looks, or the way you want it to look, like it looks like on those more famous devs. So the reason why I have this red and blue is to explain you something. So when you go the blue being the main body, right? You can never change um you can never change this, okay? You can never change this default call it default skin map, because this is where all the skins apply, unless you make an avatar with their own default skinning, which can be really painful because I don't think MView allows you to have your own bones for a new avatar. This is not like Second Life. But and not talking about that, every single skin on the market would have to be different for your product, which is completely insane. It would have to make the entire market change just because of you. You're not that important. So remember that. So until the MView gives us a power to change this, this is what we have for now. Okay. So the blue, which is the inside one, will never be changed, but it's just a skin. The outside, the red layers, we can always change them because this is the layer that we put on top of the body. So this one we can have anything we want. So now to understand unwrapping and to make it done, I'm going to show you all the tools that you can use to help you on MView to make straight maps. First of all, I want you to know this little trick here. You can change the render height here, and you can have the size here without even having any texture, okay? And as you can see here, this is the default one. So the first thing that normally people do is connect this stitches over here, right? But look, when I connect this, you already changed a little bit. So there's a few options here that I want you to understand. So I'm going to do on purpose. I'm going to completely destroy this leg over here, and I'm going to do it like that. I'm going to hold shift. If I hold shift, I can move this in the direction that I want, in one direction only, a straight line, like that. If I go here on segments now, and I want to show you this. So if I select this, okay, I have 4 stitches options over here. As you can see, the name stitch to target. This is pretty obvious. This one is going to go right there. So let's see, just like that. But sometimes we want to keep this map intact, and then we select this one, and then we do it like that, which we're going to use when we apply the neck there, for example. Something you can do as well is find an average, which can be used too. You will find the in between in here in the middle, and you will connect them right there. The other one, as you may go, is the other way around. So it connects to the source. Instead of going here to the target, it goes to the source. So it's pretty straightforward. And then you have the most famous one that you use when you, for example, flatten map, which I will show you, which is pretty much you stitch custom. So stitch custom will move the target, the entire mesh target, to the place, just like that. Okay, so those are the options you have. Something else that I want to show you is how to align. This option here selects everything, as you may already know by now. So I want to show you how do you align. For example, if you select all those vertices over here, there's a couple of tools you have over here. For example, you have linear align, which is going to do exactly what it says. You have the ones you're going to be using all the time, which is align horizontal and vertically. You have even this to give a space vertically, which will kind of evenly space them out. And you have the align vertically to pivot. When you click on this, look what happened. Just like that, okay? This is where the beginning of a straight map. And then you can come here and do this one, bang. And then you can come on this side and select. You can select this any way you want. I'm just selecting like that. And then I hold shift and I put it right over here. And now I have my straight lines, right? But everything is wrong. If we're going to look, I'm going to apply here a texture that I already have it ready. If we apply our lines, which you should always be working with your lines, something, a map like this, which one is our leg? This one is our leg. So look at this. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? Look at that. But no, not really, because then you start getting some stretches, okay? Look at that. It doesn't look perfect for a reason, and that reason is, by the way, you can get this on the internet, any of this image on Google. It doesn't matter the copyrights, because you're not going to use it for anything else, just for this. But I want a good angle here so I can show you those little mistakes that happen when we have this so straight. But as you can see, if you straight the outline from the default UAV without touching the middle, you kind of get an alright result. We are looking at this one, okay? You kind of get an alright result. It doesn't look so bad as you probably would expect. But this probably will stretch a lot your texture. Your texture probably won't look as good as you may want them to be, okay? And the most important thing is, when you're working for any kind of industry, it doesn't matter how it looks, because they use software like Substance Painter, some software that texture directly without even we caring about how the UV map looks. But when you're working for imvu, people often like to have these straight maps. And they like to, when for example, if I go here and I draw a straight line just like that, I wanted the straight line to be exactly like that. Which actually is working right here, but remember, this is just a straight plain texture attached to this. In this case, it will work kind of alright, okay? But look how messy it is. If I want to add detail here, it's kind of confusing. The lines, everything is so confusing, right? Okay, but I just did this square just to show you how you can align your points. Now, second thing you can do is, let's say you don't care how it looks, but you want a straight map. You can force the software to have a safe map. You can do it like, you can come here now and start moving those points and fix anything you want in there, okay? You can change the seams, like, you can do anything you want when you have like this, okay? Even if this looks pretty messy in here, it's probably hard to work with, but if it's working as intended for you, perfect. But for example, if I'm going to here and I write David on top of this, it's going to be weird to figure out where the David's going to be when we're looking at here. Okay? And this is not relaxed. Well, I don't know. Probably I think the devs probably did their map relaxed. But if you come over here and you apply the relax tool, there's an option here called keep boundary points fixed. You can play with those three settings over here and find one that you like. And you can relax this by keeping this shape over here. Let's have a look. Just like that. Look what happened now to the lines. So what does relaxing do? This is going to be a hard one to explain, so please hang with me. So what relax do is, it finds the natural curvature of the topology, those segments in this case, and puts them into a 2D environment in the way that represents the 3D. This is really hard for me to explain. So what I mean is, like, when I tell him to relax, I'm telling him to put this in the same way that that looks over here. So nothing is stretched, everything is perfect and clean. That's what relax means. But relax doesn't do miracles. All right. Relax, even if this one looks better than the first one, right? But look how it looks, the texture. It looks completely horrible. Okay. And to work again, it's painful to work in this. Okay. Even the default imvu would be better to work in this case, see? Because the lines, they look kind of arranged, but as you can see here, there's a lot of stretching and not correctly precise, okay? I just wanted to show you this tool, and this tool works without this as well. Normally it's used without this in some cases. For example, we can come here and do it like that. Okay, so what does this represent? Now, if you're going to see the lines over there, this represents the perfect relaxing shape for this particle UV. So in this form, the UV max, it's relaxed to match the exact and precise topology of this 3D object. What I mean by that is the detail, it's going to be perfect. Like if you look at here and I put David here, David will be, if I type David between those two lines, David will look in there, okay? This fixed topology look exactly like this. So this is the best texture result you're going to get in terms of relaxing your map. See how much detail now I have on this compared to this? This is the difference. But doesn't mean this is a good map to work for the MVU. It's going to be good for anything in your life, but not the MVU. MVU like straight map. People like to use straight maps for pixel reasons. And as you can see here, this is not a line. Now I'm going to show you a trick how you could align this. You could come over here, click on the both ends, and use this tool just like that. So you have to find the matching vertex and just align just like that. But again, you're just aligning the tips, you're not aligning everything else in the middle. So as you can see, things will start to match up in here, but things would look weird in the middle and centers because you're not relaxing there. But this is how you fix the sides of your unwrap to match the other side when you have, in this case, a leg or whatever it's a spherical or whatever cone, whatever shape. You can just make it work exactly like that. Okay, look how it's starting to align. But as you can see, it's not a straight map because it's following the topology. So what we learned from this, the better the topology, the better is your map. Okay, so now that I show you those tricks, I'm going to show you now how some devs kind of use their work in their advantage, or kind of use topology in their advantage. So something a lot of devs don't like to do is they don't like to fix the bump. The topology of the bump can be challenging for some devs. So they rather smooth it out, like, you know, any technique you want, like this. They better have this part exactly like that, so they don't have to work on straightening the lines over here because it's too much work, but they can come over here and do exactly what I'm going to show you. They can, for example, come any part they want to cut, and they will cut just like that. Okay? And what they can do is they can come over here now, and they can make their own I don't have the avatar here, but I don't care. They can make their own pants, right? So they can come here, connect, you know, do all those kinds of whatever stuff you want to do. Put more segments so it looks beautiful when we're working on a UV map. So a few segments, just not many, so I don't get crazy showing you guys. You know, they will come here. Let's say this is like some cowboy pants or whatever, and they will come here and they will make their own mesh with their own topology. And as you can see, the topology, it's very different. So I'm gonna just apply here a standard map. Look at that. So as you can see, this is all straight and everything is quads. What I mean by quads is everything has 4 sides, which is a very correct way of modeling your models. Doesn't mean it's always the best way. In some cases, for example, under the arm, probably you don't want to have quads, but normally, and in the good sense of modeling, everything should be quads. Okay, that's why MVU avatar, it's ugly because everything is out of quads. But let's not talk about that. As you can see here, I just model a little bit of those pants. You know, just make those weird pants, which can be any shape you would like them to be. I'm just showing you on the purpose of on the unwrap. So as you can see now, we're back here. So I'm going to apply this material back again. Now it's just black, obviously. So now we're going to apply an unwrap. And I'm going to show you the trick. So there's a few ways you can select this, but I'm pressing Q from Quake to change the selection method. So it doesn't select this side because we have this option over here called ignore back facing on. So I'm going to turn it off. So it doesn't ignore what I'm not seeing. And I want to select all of those where I did the cut. I think it was around there. And I'm going to click on this option called Quick Pill. It's just going to cut. It's going to break. It's going to do a break, and then it's going to already automatically relax for us. Okay. So as you can see, even if it's perfect quads and look very squarey, I already have some deformation here. And why do I have that deformation? Is because I pulled those vertex, okay? This deformation represents this deformation that I change here, and I move those vertex along the way. And I did a bad peel here. I'm just gonna, there you go. But with this map, I can do any kind of map that I want because everything is quads. But since this tutorial is about what I got requested, how do those devs make those clean and beautiful straight maps, I'm going to show you some tricks. So you have this part which is kind of messy, and we can't straight this. No matter what we do, we don't have the knowledge or power to change our texture, and we don't want to change our texture, let's be honest. We want to keep that bump like that, but we can do, using those techniques and these techniques, we can make this be straight in here, but be messy in the bump, for example. So you would have a messy topology, which you cannot make a straight line, but then you have a straight line, a straight topology where you can have the straight map. So I'm going to show you another cool technique, a cool button press that we have in Max, which is this tool, straighten selection. If everything is quads, again, what a quad is and topology, it's the mesh. It's called topology. This is called topology. What you see, it's called the topology is quads, like it is right now. Everything has 4 sides. You can use this tool called straighten selection. And what this tool does is when you press it, it's going to automatically straighten everything. Look at that. Everything is automatically perfectly straight. Okay, and this is what we want. We want a map like this so it's easy to work on the imvu on Photoshop. So I can come here and make straight lines, straight patterns, whatever the hell that I want. Now, something to pay attention is sometimes when you stretch with a straighten selection, the size between one segment to another one is going to be wrong. Okay, and what I mean by that is let's say from this guy to this guy, I have 1 inch. You guys are Americans, but 1 inch, 1 centimeter, 1 meter, whatever. He has one value from this to this, okay? But this to this, he has a value of 2. So they have to be different. And you can see here on the straight map, I think the straight map actually behaves pretty well. You can see here that it's different sizes from one to another. And sometimes the straighten map does not do this for us, and sometimes you have to manually come here. You can hold shift to move in one place, and you manually have to choose the difference. Which one I'm moving this one, and you have to manually fix this difference. This texture you will not see. You need a texture with different texture probably, but this one not see. But if you go here, we can see the difference. You see? That's what I'm talking about. If this is not looking right, you can come and tweak this yourself until it looks nice. For example, a good place to tweak this normally is on the tips. Look at that. In this case, we're going to connect to the other one, but look at that. See? If we wanted this to look a little bit better where the texture will finish, we could pull this a little bit down so it would look a little bit better in the end. But by doing that, I will be changing those segments as well. Now look, they are smaller in size than this ones, and we don't want that. We always want them to be the same size. But again, if this wasn't important, you could just tweak everything slowly, one by one, until you get, the texture that you like, or the look that you like in the texture that you're looking for. As you can see the difference by now, it's already looking pretty different in terms of quality. You can see almost a difference because of the topology. Those things didn't happen like that. You see that little blur? It's not happening at all because everything is scaled uniformly. Now, back to the trick I was telling you. Now, it's very simple to connect this. So all you gotta do is make sure this guy is kind of in a place, something like that. Or you can use this if you just click like that and bang, see? But again, he moved a little bit, and you don't want him to move at all. You want it to be exactly like it is on those sides. Fine. Then just put it close enough, and then remember this option. We can collect the source or the target just like that. Simple as that. A little trick is you do the tips, and then you double click the middles and make sure only those are selected, not anything crazy going on there, and you stitch again on the other way like that because we're selecting the bottom ones. Now, as you look here, now we have the back. But look at the rest. The rest looks absolutely disgusting because it's not straight. It's not the way that probably we envisioned this to be. But we already can see, and your brain already, you probably already thinking, oh my god, so that's how I do it. A lot of devs do this, and the hard part they leave it like this, and then the easy part they leave it like this. So it's easy to texture here, but it's hard to texture here. But there's still a few ways you can tweak this. So you can try, for example, using this UV paint selection and come on the insides of here, okay? And for example, I'm going to just do this selection, and you can come here and relax this. And what the relax is going to happen, because we have this selection, it's not going to touch our seams, and we can relax on the insides of our mesh and start making this look a little bit better for us and find something that we like. If by relaxing works for you. If relaxing is not working, the only way that I can advise you then is you better start working. And what I mean by that is you can come over here and start moving those little guys any way you want, any way, like slowly moving and looking at your texture and making sure you find something that doesn't stretch your texture. This is all the boring work you have to do when you're making a UV map. But as you can see, the default UV map is not that bad, but the size is different, right? So you actually would have to come over here and fix the size some way in this mess. You would have to move around until you find something you like. That's why sometimes you see meshes or devs that leave this part like that and fix this part over here, because this is easy to fix. If you wanted to straighten this up, you already know, you would select all of the sides just like so. It's better to select always all of the side in the vertexes. So when you're aligning, you align every single one on this side. Just something like that, and you will do the bang, okay? And then you will start aligning this, and you can pull this any way you want, fix the size you want. Now you start getting the point, okay? Because I was talking about aligning over here. You see, it's not aligned there. So you would have to use... Oh, it's not aligned there. Why? I was like, why is not aligned there? There you go. Because I move up and down. So you start aligning those little things in the seams. Now, if you wanted to change seams of this, of course, here is a mess. It would be sorry, the V-Ray tab. This would be insanely hard to align everything perfectly. But the tips you can always align. Okay, you can always come over here. And you can always align this side with the other side by doing this tool. And of course, by selecting every single one of those like that. But again, even if it's aligned, doesn't mean it's correct. You should always check your map. So if you don't want them to happen with the shift, you can come here and select the one that you wanted to move. Now it will only move on this direction. Just like so. And you start aligning the interiors of all of this. And you could have a straight map here, but now be careful over here, okay? In this case, you start to be careful because there's some curves in the end, right? So you need to be careful with those curves, because this kind of round curve here is representing probably to those curves over here, which you can still align this, but remember, this is already top, I think. This is top alignment, probably. I don't know. You would have to come over here. I think it is top. And you can make this as straight as you want. But remember, I'm going to say this again. Straight doesn't mean it's correct, okay? Look at that. You're already getting some glitches because inside of here, it's not straight. It's very messed up, okay? And for this to be 100% correct, you would have to topology. If you want this to be all straight, and you have to come here and make this straight as well, you would have to fix it topology wise instead of UV wise. You can of course come over here and move this until you find a solution for your texture, but remember, this is not the correct way to do. You should always have a nice topology to make a map. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it right there. So this is what we have for teaching those tools to you. Now I want to show you something. Okay, so everything looks pretty good. I got a few explanations in there. You can see the difference. Okay, there's way more detail in here than in here, obviously, because this one is straight and fixed. And don't forget that the poly is not smooth at all, but still, it's better here than here, right? And of course, here it's not connected, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, now I'm going to show you the other shape I have here. And on this shape, as you can see, it already looks pretty damn good. Okay, everything looks very okay. Here is not straight because it's not connected again, but that's a matter of connecting stuff. And when you look at this with a different type of topology, what you get is no, I forgot to turn this on. When you have a nice and beautiful topology, what you get is you get easy maps. That's pretty much what does you get. What do you get? But doesn't mean that you still don't have to fix. So what you have here, it's the same map as the other one. Okay, it's the same map as the default imvu map for the skinning, but the topology has been fixed. Okay, and what I mean by that is when you come over here, for example, let's say I'm going to do a cut and there was like a line somewhere like that being crazy over here, right? And a way to clean the topology is you could come here and start cleaning those lines just by control and backspace. And that's one of the processes is deleting segments and creating segment over the ones you delete. But areas like the butts, we want way more detail. We want to have more texture for the skinning, for the stretching, whatever goes. This shape is not perfectly straight yet. It's a work in progress, but it's pretty much good for this tutorial. So I want to show you uh, this leg, how it would go to making the layer for this leg. Now, as you can see, we can't straighten this for a few reasons. The first reason is because, look at this, we have a segment that then unifies over here, and there's a segment missing here, but it doesn't matter, just for you to understand. Everything that is not all straight and everything that is a square or everything that is not quad, this tool will not work. Means you would have to do it manually. You would have to come here and align the seams manually yourself. But there's a few tricks you could do, and one of the tricks is you can come over here and you can grab the I'll take the select all too long. Grab the problematic areas, which is exactly the same areas on the default one, you see, and you could come here and you could break this just like so. And as you can see here, we have another problematic area is to match the vertex for the end view. You can come here and break this as well. Oops, and break this as well. So now we only have the carcass, and the carcass is pretty much straight. So what can we do? We can click on this option and look at that. Voila. We get our straight map out of this. Now all we got to do is work with those two to find a result that looks nice. And there's two holes in this texture for some reason. I think it's because I deleted something in there. Not quite sure why this happened, but we're gonna move on back here. Now you're gonna have to. I think it's because I cut it. Probably doesn't matter. I'm just showing you anyway. Now that we have the carcass and everything is straight, so we don't look at the ugly thing. You can come here and do all kinds of tricks that you want to fix this. So one of the things that I like to do, I like to make it almost the same size, maybe always not bigger, but always smaller, just like so. And then you can just come over here and use this stitch to target, just like so. And then stitch your target. There's a few, like if this happened, don't stitch, just deselect everything else and make sure you only select what you want to stitch, and voila. Now, to keep fixing this, you could just come over here, align, you could come on this guy and make sure he finds the correct angle. Now, the correct angle might not be this one, okay? Might not be straighting this one, maybe this one, the straight one. You would have to come here, you have to come here and look at it. See, these little angles stretching and stuff, you have to fix those, okay? And you have to find a good in-between value here that the map looks nice to work with but doesn't stretch the texture. So you would come here and align this a little bit manually, kind of, until you get what you're looking for. Okay, and then you start getting the I screw it up. If you screw it up down here, it's fine. You can just always align, and you will fix the same way we did for the other one. You would come over here, and then you would start aligning this to this top guy over here, right? The same way that we did with the other guy. Okay, I just don't know why you're doing that. It's kind of cute. Um, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna select those and just break them just like so to see exactly what's happening. I'm curious to see what this is. I'm gonna stitch the target right there. So maybe when I deleted something I was not supposed to delete, and I create some kind of weird texture in here. So be careful when you're cleaning your. There's literally a square missing here. Okay, so that's the problem. We're missing a square. So be careful when you're fixing your topology. You may break your entire work. Okay, so but that doesn't matter. Out of the way. Now we know what the problem is. We don't care. I'm gonna take this the hell out of here. Okay, we screwed up when we touched it. Now, when you align those to the same trick over and over again, and then you can probably select all of those and stitch to source. There you go. And now, of course, you would have now to align this with the other bomb. You have to align this with the other one. But normally when you're making a layer, you kind of want this to be separated, right? You want this to be one, how do you say, one ID, and this to be another ID, so you have more quality on your works. And I'm going to show you how to make the neck after as well. And maybe those as well. I can show you some tricks for those. But, then after you fix your map, you would want this to be one ID. A trick you can do is you can come here, select this with the faces and select the entire element. And then you come to editing, edit the poly, click on this immediately, and you can add any number you would like, okay? You can put any ID number there, and this will give you, just for that part of the map, an ID number. Then you can come back to Unwrap. But before you Unwrap, there's two things you can do. You can add another edit poly and just take this if you don't like to collapse, or you could just collapse everything like that and then come back. Okay, but every time you collapse you can make the file bigger, so be careful with that. And there you go. And now we have this to be ID number 2, and if you go on ID number 2, we have this guy over here. Now another thing that I want to show you guys is how do you make two textures to be the same size and the same package. So you have those options over here. What they do pretty much is they arrange everything in your UV map into the square you choose. So for example, this one, the pack normalize. If we click, what's going to happen is, excuse me, he will automatically make the scale for them. So okay, ignore this. You'll make the scale look exactly the same, but this one is broken. So, but you get the point. You will make the scale here match the other one, but of course they need to be twins. But if they're not twins, it's fine. For example, if I come over here and come over here and I click pack normalize, what it does is it makes sure that the size of the texture is the same. So if you put a texture here and here and here and here, of course it will look different, but the resolution would be the same, okay? And that's very important because we want them to be exactly the same. Now, of course, you can do this by looking, and sometimes on the end view, you break this rule like 100% of the times, which is kind of crazy, but it is what it is. But you know that tool is there. There's a lot of options, but pretty much the same. You can choose to rotate or not. This is the padding is the difference between one and another, okay? So you know these options are there, and it's good to you to know those tools because they're very strong tools. Now, another thing you can do, I'm going to break this one, and there's a tool here called the flatten mapping, okay? And when you press this tool, you can choose an angle. 45 is normally the fine angle, but if you put a bigger angle, it's fine as long as you don't overdo it. But I'm going to use 45, which is a normal angle, and what it happens is it breaks this into thickened pieces, okay? And what you can do is if you like puzzles, and normally you're going to do this a lot of time, you would come here and you would start making your puzzle, okay? And you would start connecting, and then you can click on the pill to see how to look. And this way you would get the map. This normally you do if you have a very weird shape, you can't find any way to cut it, so on, and voila, okay? You would keep going doing this until you get the shape of the leg. And of course you would have to rotate and put the texture the way you want. That's why it's always nice to work with the texture like this, okay? Now, another option you can do is I'm gonna turn this texture off because it's bugging me. So I'm gonna sign this. We're gonna take the map seams and we're gonna leave those peel seams. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna work on leg, but it should be fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here in segments and we want to break this. I don't know if this is gonna work here, but I want to select, for example, this from here. Okay, so we're going to use this option over here called peel. And what we're going to do is we have convert edge selection to seam, or we have this option here, point to point seam. So what this does is, for example, if I come over here, I wish I had it, but I don't have it. So I think it's this one, right? So now I'm going to select the rest, just like so. And now you're going to see why I turned the map seams on. Because now if I put this option on, we get this blue seam. It's not a map seam, okay? It's not a UV seam. It's a peel seam. And now I open it right there. And then I'm going to pick, for example, this line over here. I'm going to double click, for example. I don't really care. This line should be okay. Maybe there's a few mistakes on the mesh and it's going to not peel correctly, but and then I'm going to convert this to a peel as well. And I'm going to do the same thing on the underline here. I'm going to grab this underline if I can, which is not going to happen. I'm just going to come over here and just select. Just like so. And I'm going to make a peel there. So what I'm saying is I want you to cut open there, and cut open there, which should be enough. Okay. Normally it should be enough, but since we have those things, it may break. So, and now there's the let's see what happens now when we peel this. When we select everything to peel, I think if you just press this, it should get automatically the peel there for entire leg. See, we get this option, and those it's where I put the peeling. It's what it's gonna pull like that. Okay, so when you start pelting, is pelting not the entire leg for magical reason, because I think I cut the seam over there. I should not cut the entire seam over there because I think it's grabbing the entire leg, as you can see. I'm just gonna select like that, see if it works, but I'm not sure. And if I start pelting, now it's not breaking because it's letting the bomb instead of the it's doing a pelt seam like that, you see. So it's not really applying, so we have to cut open. But I want to show you pelt because pelt is pretty useful. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish these cuts. It's gonna have a lot of cuts. You don't need this many cuts, okay? In fact, I should just immediately stop this and make another one so you don't get confused. And maybe this one is smaller, we can get a better result. So first of all, I didn't do this on the other one. If we peel this now and you start pelting, see, nothing's happened, okay? But now if we come over here and we make a seam to open there, and then we convert this, now we have our seam there, and now we pelt this, there you go. It opens and you get the result. Normally it's very used sometimes in it can help you too. You pretty much open the where you put the cut, and you opens it and you can relax it here immediately. See, are we starting to get the same result we had before because it's relaxed, and then we pelt, relax. It's, you know, you should always relax your work a little bit so it doesn't stretch, and you would get your pelting. Okay. Now, without the pelting, for example, a trick you can do is always the same as you could take all the defaults, which I think this one had all defaults, and you could take all the parts that are not quads, just like so, and you could just, you know, comment. I think this one you can straight if you take all the defaults, just like so, see? And then it's a matter of you, even to fix your topology, you could come here and fix your topology. You should always fix until, at least the tips you can fix, but you should fix until it's that everything is straight, but not the tips. And you would fix them and get a square map. So this is a lot of tips already that I'm giving you. The leg was harder to peel because we had to make more cuts, and this way it was easier with just one cut, and you see what the effect is. You need to choose where to cut and then peel it. It's simple as that. Now the neck here, I don't think we have the right resolution here. How do they on the layer, how do they fix a map? It's pretty simple. First of all, you have this option over here. You can rotate like that. It rotates 90 degree angles. You would come over here and you would find out, okay, so exactly where am I supposed to cut? Okay, you can come on faces, for example, and click here. No, nothing. Oh, there we go. There we go. The blue is the indication of where the tip is, and this is the tip. So those two, we can break them. So now we know that those two are not part of the neck. They're part of this place over here, just like so. And then how do you fix this? Very simple. We already know the techniques. You would come over here. You would press the, I call it the Photoshop free transform, and go right there. Maybe smaller. I don't know. We're gonna find the solution here, something like that. And you start fixing this by doing the same thing as we already saw before. You would start attaching to the source. Okay. Maybe here you want to do one by one, unless you can click on this guy and then stitch target, but it's selecting something it's not supposed to, so we unselect what we're not supposed to select and then stitch target. And now, but the texture is going to look weird when you do this. It's going to look weird, and you need to align this. Now remember, because you broke here, you need to align this top with this top. Okay, so and this, of course, they need to be aligned just like so. Okay, so they match the same space. So I'm gonna do this for this one as well, just to show you how you would fix this, and you align just like so. And then you have another one here. The topology of this is not very nice, but it's better to work on this one than the other one. And just like so, you would start fixing the neck here. Okay, and of course you have to pay attention to those here as well. Now a trick you could do is you could use a trick I showed you before. You could copy, just select those that are giving you trouble and just relax those dots just like so. Look at that. And you can do the same here. Instead of having it so straight, but if you want a straight map like you see it sometimes, you can do it like that. But if you don't want to, you can just, relax this and make this look more the topology that we have here. The same applies to this. If you want to relax this a little bit so it matches your taste of texture, you can just select some few vertices and just relax without even touching the seams of your work. You can do this anywhere you want. You just paint and relax. Okay, and it can help you a lot in the long process. So I think that's it, guys. It's already a long video, almost an hour video, 15 minutes. Okay, almost an hour video, talking about a lot of UEV techniques. Of course, I didn't cover everything I know, but I think I covered enough for you to do any kind of map in the goddamn imvu. I don't think I will ever again do Unwrap video again. This is my last one over on this topic. I think this covers everything you need to know. So I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it. I see you next time. And have fun creating. Bye-bye.